what scares you the most about the technology solutions that big tech like Apple and Google are putting out to track COVID-19?
One of the things I think is not always considered, and it relates to Apple and Google, as well as certain three-letter professionals companies that are very active around the world, they'll approach something and with their sheer size and scale offer a solution that they engineer. Obviously, in the course of just this Zoom meeting, we have centuries of capabilities and specific expertise, both in technical solutions as well as in understanding the market. Yet each of us is limited by our own ability to get some audience for that solution. Apple and Google can call 1,000 people in an hour and get something promoted. That doesn't mean it's necessarily the best. I think hackathons like this offer the opportunity for truly unique and capable solutions to boil to the top and potentially get recognized, or some sort of momentum that may be overcome or not recognized because an Apple or Google says, hey, here's my latest app, and pushes it out to 1 billion global users without having the ability to tap into a resource pool such as this, get various angles at it, and in a hackathon, kick it, move it around, see how it works. And so I think that's a risk in having some of those, the largest FANG names offer these things up, that they don't have this capability to draw from.
Also, a lot of people who work for these big companies haven't necessarily had the boots on the ground experience with what can possibly go wrong in an operational setting, or just, the things that human behavior play into data privacy and security. It's not just a matter of using apps, it's the foreseeable misuse. It's really helping people understand what are the shortcomings in it, and going through all those scenarios. And a lot of folks who join big firms like Google and Apple come from either solely tech backgrounds, or the healthcare industry needs the people like Michael Marchand, who I'm looking at right now, in their the good people in healthcare stay, let's put it that way. And so if Google and Apple aren't able to tap into the people who are really seeing the daily operations, then they're going to get a very high level view of how to operationalize it.
One of the biggest buzzwords related to blockchain technology is trust, right? And how many of us, when we think Google or Apple, we trust them 100%? I think everyone raises that big question, right? Because there's all sorts of things that are happening, the Ascension Health. We have all of these other things that have happened in their past that people really lose trust, even though these big companies have the ability and the capabilities of really moving large objects and really making a difference. There's that trust aspect there. And when it comes down to what they're talking about, utilizing devices and tracking people and relationships and all of this and monitoring, from a medical perspective, there's a great benefit to that, because there is a aspect of it where, we have asymptomatic patients who potentially are transmitting COVID-19, right? And you just don't know. And so by being able to have that capability of tracking who has, who's been in contact with somebody who has tested positive in the past 14 days, and being able to, create those relationships and those maps and isolate certain situations from happening it could be a potentially have a great impact. But at the same point, there's that trust aspect, there's that privacy aspect, and the security of our information. And it's a very gray line, a slippery slope. And that's where what we're doing today, maybe there's something that we can, through the capabilities of this technology that we've been enthusiastic about for so many years, and everybody on this call is enthusiastic about, is able to utilize to allow the big organizations to leverage their capabilities while maintaining that trust that we're talking about.
One of the things I've loved about blockchain and healthcare and decentralized identity is trying to force the cultural change in the US to stop talking about privacy in the context of HIPAA and talk privacy in the context of a GDPR, which is I own my data and I have a self-sovereign identity, and I get to have a voice in how I share it. And the model we have right now is both monolithic and paternalistic, in my personal opinion, in terms of what privacy means in the context of security, and not how I get to define myself as an individual and how my information is used.
Yeah, that's a big shift, Jim. And when HIPAA was written, I know some of the people who helped write it it was written with a whole different paradigm in mind. So as we shift it to the person, the individual owns the data, we have to shift those pieces as well to help people understand. And we have to provide them with, like the gentleman before said, Dr. Rose, we have to provide them with an ability to trust that identity protection. So that's what I think blockchain has an opportunity to give as well.